Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about Mars opposite Jupiter in Synastry. So this is a real interesting, very high energy contact to have in Synastry. It can definitely lead to some reckless or crazy behavior from both people. But generally, at least at the beginning, there's a lot of positive energy and enthusiasm, and it's a very physical, like I said, highly energetic contact to have in Synastry. So when we meet each other, it's like we have all these plans and we want to do this and we want to do that and go hiking or rock climbing or skydiving or whatever the interests are of the Mars and the Jupiter. It's like a very exciting, enthusiastic meeting when we find someone who's making this aspect with us in Synastry. And over time, though, we can realize that our goals are sort of in opposition. So, what can end up happening is that these plans or these promises don't end up coming to fruition because we're just going in different directions. Now, it depends on the signs too, and it depends on like how open minded each of them are, but you can end up really opening your mind to a lot of new ideas or experiences. This could actually be a person who is like a catalyst for huge expansion for you when you have this opposition in Synastry. It can really take you, like, I'm just thinking of a personal experience when I was a Jupiter person, where because of meeting this person, I met like literally, I'm not even exaggerating, probably like 1,000 other people because of the Mars person. And we had other things going on probably too in the Synastry, but at the time I thought it was a romantic relationship connection. But what actually ended up happening was that my world was expanded to this whole other world where I ended up meeting all these people, and many of those people I'm still connected with to this day. So it was definitely, for me as the Jupiter person, a very expansive experience, although on a personal level, I think that there was definitely some misinterpretation, or there was other things going on in this industry too that would show that. But there can definitely be, like I said, a lot of planning for things to happen that does not ever happen. So, and you just want to look out for that. With Mars Jupiter, we're very impulsive. On the negative side, we could see this connection actually showing up in, like, let's say, what could be an example? Someone that you're at the casino and they're like, yeah, you should bid $10,000. And you're like, sure, let's do it. And then you lose it or something. That kind of energy, or like in a worse sense, it could be something like this, like, uh, you've had lots to drink, or you drink and you're out at a bar, and then the other person is like, oh yeah, you can drive, no big deal, and then like that's obviously could be very bad. But usually with Jupiter, it's like whatever stupid reckless stuff you do at this contact, it does usually work out, which is a horrible thing to say, but like that's sometimes what happens with Jupiter is you get really lucky. But yeah, it can definitely be very dangerous and very reckless and very, depending on the people, like if there is criminal tendencies or if there's like gambling tendencies, like Sagittarius energy in this opposition, things could get, like I said, those are kind of just two examples, but like you could think of it with many other ways that this could manifest. And there's definitely a great potential for that with the opposition. The opposition is kind of like potentially the most dangerous, I'd say, of the Mars Jupiter aspects, because the opposition aspect is kind of like the full moon aspect, if you think about it, right? Because when the sun is opposite the moon, we're at the full moon, we're at the biggest point, the most energetic, most lunacy, is available to us. So when we get a planet in opposition, we in Synastry have this potential for very extreme expressions of both planets. So we could see the Jupiter person being especially Jupiterian, very extravagant, very generous, very preachy, teaching and very hopeful, sometimes too much so, right? We could see some bad judgment with this aspect in Synastry. The Mars person is going to feel especially energetic, excited, potentially very sexual, very like manly and confident to an extreme. Like they could be getting in fights. They could be, and this aspect too can show that there is some fighting because we both just really get each other going. And what could end up happening is that the Mars person can feel like the Jupiter person is unreachable. Like they're off doing some philosophical thought training, and Mars is like in here in the moment and wants to do it or wants to like do something physical, practical, day to day, like physical body stuff. And Jupiter is off, doing some far off study somewhere, right? So, what we can see with this aspect also is sometimes the plans not coming together is not really because either person doesn't want them to come together. It's because Jupiter is off doing something and Mars is here wanting something now and they're just unavailable to meet. Or, it could be that there's distance separating them, or there's like philosophical differences, and that will come out later, like in the relationship, that you'll notice that, oh, you believe some crazy wacko stuff, or it's there's like and it could be just that you're learning a lot from each other. And the opposition, of course, why it's actually easier than the square is there's more potential for balance and meeting in the middle. But if you're dealing with some very stubborn signs, you might not have the desire to meet in the middle or to learn from this other person. You might just actually get standoffish even with this aspect. So it's a really interesting one for sure. The Mars person could end up being frustrated by the Jupiter person and their ideas and their kind of even like religious energy, because Jupiter is kind of like what we believe, and like the Mars person is like, I don't care about any of that. Like, I just want to do what I want to do in the moment. And the Jupiter person can seem out of reach or like not wanting to come along and just do these like basic fun things. Like, for example, like the Mars person might just like want to go to the movies, and the Jupiter person is like, no, I want to go to the temple and study like this whatever religion I'm studying right now, or something like that. That's just like a cliche sort of example, but that's the kind of thing we could see with this opposition. So I pretty much said all the negatives. Now, like the positive though, this is a very inspiring, like I said, broadening connection for both people. Like the Mars person can really be taught a lot by the Jupiter person. And if they are sort of open-minded, if they've got a more open-minded kind of Mars, they can actually be like the student of Jupiter. And the Jupiter person can really gain like incentive to their ideas, like to actually implement some of this far off stuff into day-to-day reality. And they can definitely get a boost, there's a feeling of joy in being together. There's a feeling of generosity, joy, and as much as they're different and they're attracted to each other because they're different, they really do have that Jupiterian like good energy for each other. And it's infectious. It's very, like you'll look back on this relationship and you maybe see your differences and why it didn't work out, but you'll still think that was a worthwhile experience. There was good vibes there. There was learning that was worthwhile. There was expansion that was needed, right? The other thing though, if you're taking advice from someone and you have this Mars Jupiter aspect, just want to double check that, like this, traditional astrology would say there could be losses, right? There could be bad advice given. Like I've already talked about, there could be recklessness. So you want to really try to tone down that impulsive energy that you're going to feel with this person. Even though things may work out and you may be lucky, you could look back and regret too, and look back on this relationship like, I can't believe I acted like that or did that, or even like, the trouble that you got into, or, you just really want to, like in this relationship, like take a deep breath before acting, before saying something, because this is a crazy one. So I'd love to know your experience of this aspect in Synastry. If you've had it, what was it like for you? I'd love to know. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your request. This was requested I'm basically just doing all requests these days. Like I have a long list and I just keep doing them. But every time you comment a request, I add it to my list. So thank you so much, you guys. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye.